Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone and good evening. So today is our sixth discussion for our LAX movie review, group 104. Tonight we will discuss about the review of the movie that we choose, which is Titanic. So before we start our discussion, I will introduce myself first. My name is NABILAH Binti Mohd Nur, and my metric number is 206822.
Hi, my name is Siti, Hikmah, Fauziah, Binti, Othman. My metric number is 206027.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Iman bin Muhammad Yusri. My matrix number is 207629.
My name is
Hi,
Ahmad.
everyone.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Yasmin Binti Redzuan. My metric number is 20658.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Haiqal bin Ahmad Fadilah. My metric number is 207144.
Hello, my name is Ain Nurhanani Binti Rozmi and my matrix number is 205428.
Hi, my name is Nurul Azmeera Binti Muhammad Salleh. My metric number is 206223.
Hi, my name is Syarinaz Binti Mataji and my metric number is 206945.
Hi, my name is Sazira binti Kamalludin and my metric number is 207299.
Okay, thank you everyone. So we will start our discussion about the review of the Titanic. I'll start first. I want to give a review about the Titanic movie. Overall, I like this movie because this movie has it all. It has romance, drama, it has action, and this movie made the viewer fall in love in each and every scene in this movie. The emotionally so powerful in this movie until it makes the viewers break into tears, especially when Rose try to wake Jack and want to tell him that there's a boat, but the Jack but Jack was died, and that was the sad scene. I the most sad scene I think in this movie. Okay, other than that, this movie is an allegory on how the rich people sacrifice the poor people to continue living. Especially we can see when Carl uh, take that girl, that cry girl, just because he want to get into the boat. And he said that the girl is the only one he has in this world, while he didn't even know who's that girl. That's all. So I rate this movie 8/10. Okay, that's that.
Yes, I would like to agree with Sarah because um, at that moment, Carl saw that that little girl was crying, but at first he did nothing, right? But then he took the girl because he wanted to get into the boat. So like it is a very cruel thing to do as an adult, you know, like I think it was very immature of him. So I'm going to give from my point of view, my review of this movie. And as we all know, the genre was romance. So like we can see the storyline, you know, like the romance storyline and how Jake and Rose played their role. Very nice. I think I was so stunned because it was a movie from more than 20 years ago. So like everything was superficial. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it was so good. The scenes, the props, and everything, the ships, you know. And I was so curious how they did this in those 90s. Like I thought it was CGI for everything, but it was illogical because how do they have to they have to be in the water and everything, you know. And for me, for the last part where not for the last part, for the part where everyone was drowning, everyone was jumping out of the ship, it was very scary because it was so dark in the water, and I kind of have this not phobia but like scared of water, especially that deep ocean, and it is very dark, so you don't know what is going on down there. But I did a research. It is actually you are safe from animals, you know, like sharks, because it was a freezing sea. It was the temperature was very low, so like they died because of the temperature, not because of being bitten or eaten by any animals. So yeah.
Hi. I agree with Yasir's on how they produced that movie with okay. I also wondering how they produced that movie, because back then I don't think they have equipment as equipment and technology as cool as now, great as now. So not only I think about how they record this movie, the cinematography and everything is so great. But I I'm not a big fan of romance movie, so I feel like this movie quite slow. It takes a long time for me to it for me it takes a long time to reach to the point where about Titanic. They have a lot from the start there were a lot of talking, so I think it's quite boring for me. So I think I will rate it 7, because although it's quite boring, it's not really boring. It's fine because how I still okay. First, I think it's cool about how they did the movie, and second, the storyline. I think the story writer they're so clever. Um, I rate it 7/10 because the movie, the cinematography, the storyline was great. But yeah, just that it's a bit slow for me. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Can I go next? Okay. I agree with Qazreen. It was a slow movie at first, what, like, or 30 minutes like that. I actually have watched this movie before, but only 30 minutes, but then stop because the storyline a bit too slow, and 3 hours is too long to watch. So, but never mind. But this movie, but I can finish this movie with you guys. So what I get from this movie is the movie start to become interesting when there was a dinner scene where Jack Dawson was invited to eat with rich people. So that is, you can see the actress played by Rose needs freedom from her own family, which is her family kind of strict with attitude that rich people always do. So it was very disturbing when I see Rose just follow the orders from her mother and fiance. I feel like she suffocate enough and she cannot do anything she wants. Like she doesn't belong to herself. So and and I remember that there was a one scene that I I don't like very much where her fiance is a hot temper person. Where you can I don't I don't know if you can remember that there was a breakfast scene. Yeah, her fiance gets angry and overturn the table. So I was really surprised that someone could could get over could get very mad about that. So I think I know protective is good, but overprotective is a bit no. So moving on with and then I was glad that Rose finally found her freedom when she met with this man named Jack Dawson. Jack shows how it feels to live in freedom. Like Rose can do anything she wants, really, and not following order. They also bring the best out in Rose, like a real Rose, like a true self Rose. And then um, uh, what about what if we were in we were in a raw situation that like we also want freedom, right? We don't want anyone to control our life, so like we can do what we really want, what we really want. And then because we have the right to decide what we want in life, because it is us who live our lives, not other people. So you only live once, so do whatever that makes you happy. And lastly, another thing that I remember until now that about Jack Dawson said during the dinner scene, and that he says like, life is a gift. I don't intend always in it. You never know what hand you are going to get till next. You learn to take life as it comes at you to make each day count. It's a good message, right? Each day count. So So, uh, I really enjoyed this movie. And lastly, I don't want to talk about the ending because the ending makes me sad because they don't live together because Jack died. So, and but I'm happy at the same time because the last at the end of the movie, when most of the people died on that day, gather gather on, I don't know what it's called, like flock thing, like yeah, like they gather and waiting for us, and I get to see Jack Dawson for the last time, and she can live happily ever after, but in another life lah. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, I think Titanic movie is a masterpiece. I've watched it numerous times and I still can hear every quiver of my heart like the first time I watched it. As we all know that the movie was about a 17 years old Rose hails from aristocratic family is set to be married. And when she boards the Titanic, she meets Jack Dawson and fall in love with him. However, after a few days, the ship hits an enormous iceberg and a tragedy begins to unfold. To me, the movie gave us an insight how women were treated at that time, and it went deep into the struggle of social class. If you notice, there were no modern words or expressions, and for the most part, um, everyone spoke according to their social class. For instance, the upper class men and women spoke as if they were well educated, and the lower class spoke rather simply. And I agree with Rose. I agree with Rose Shazir, Rose that Rose fiance was one of the character that I disliked the most. I hated the way he followed Rose and tried to control every Rose every Rose move, and he was abusive toward her, physically and verbally. But I also think that he played his role successfully. Otherwise, I wouldn't hate him so much. I also think that the movie was powerful, wonderful, and at times very emotional. Um, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet played their roles so brilliant that I cried during the whole movie. And I strongly recommend this movie to those who want to cry and meltdowns a to a glamorous love story. Okay. That's all from me. Next.
Can I
Okay,
go next? Okay, go.
okay, me first, okay. If from me, I think that I have watched this movie multiple of times, but I always get excited to watch this movie again and again. Okay, this movie was released 23 years ago, but still being remembered and be one of the hits movie all of the time. Again, as all of you know, this movie is very interesting based on the love story, and actually the story between Rose and Jack is actually not true. But the cruise ship that the name is Titanic was actually hit the iceberg and comes to its ultimate demise. Okay, from whatever I learned in this movie is that um you guys know that money did not buy happiness. Even if you have tons of money in your bank, but the fact that you can't buy happiness is the truth. And in this movie, what I can relate is that we can see that Rose and Jack can find happiness even though that they did not came from the same class, but they are happy in their own way. I think that's all from me.
Can I go next? Okay. I 100% agree with Siti. Well said. I absolutely enjoy this movie, although the starting was a bit slow. And to be honest, that was the first time I watched Titanic, and I'm 20 years old. A bit embarrassed about that, but it's better late than never, right? So I think that the story between Jack and Rose was not only beautiful love story, but it also captured the social pressures of the young and wealthy women in their time, like what Siti mentioned, how they treated women back then. I also think that there are no perfect cast that can portray this character other than Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate, and they portray the characters really well in the movie. That I think that it's not like other love story movie like we used to watch. And I must say that I was blown away when I finished the movie, even though it took me like it took us like 3 hours to finish the whole movie. And I think we all can recommend this movie to whoever have not watched this movie. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Can I go next? Okay, for me, I really enjoy this movie. Even I been watched this movie a few times, but this movie is a very close to the real tragedy. We know that. For me, the main character, the main actor, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate, really bring their character as well. Because we as a what we call, because we also can feel their love story. Even though at the end they didn't been together because Jack was dead, but for me this story the ending very extremely sad. As we know, Jack is a very poor guy, but he fall in love with Kate, the lady, very beautiful and wealthy, and they keep meeting on. I really disappointed because they didn't been together in the end. I know this is a real story, but is to feel if we at their situation, we also can feel a very heartbreak or whatever. And one thing that I would like to highlight here, the last scene before the movie end, the Rose was holding the necklace that the ex-fiance gave to her, but she throwing back the necklace into the ocean. Because for me, if the thing um, expensive or value very valuable, but if it's not came from the right person, it's mean nothing to us. That's what I want. That's all for me, and I would like to rate this movie 9 out of 10, and I would like to suggest to anyone who likes Izzah who's never watched this movie before. It's worth to watch. Thank you.
Okay, from my point of view, I think this movie is really one of the greatest movie of all time, and I don't want to talk about the storyline, the character, because you guys have said about it. What I would like to say is about the point from the production, how they like Yasir said, back then was 19th, late 19th, how they produced the really good movie, the props, the scenes, and how they put a lot of effort, the actors and the production. How I don't know if back then they have CGI or kind of that kind of stuff like we have now. And also one other thing that I like to share is I actually did research about the character is Rose and Jack, and I found out that the character is only fictional character. There is no such name Jack Dawson or Rose in real life in Titanic, in the real Titanic. I mean the director James Cameron just used fictional characters, and I love how he relate the fictional character and with the historical, when how the ships was really how the ship sinks, it related like the fictional character, the fictional storyline with the historical, and it suits it really go well, and I would like to rate this movie 7.5 out of 10. That's all from me. Thank you.
For me, I also agree that this movie is a bit of slow, but I also really enjoy this movie very much. I the this movie depicts how the ship is sinking. In spite of that, the movie tells us the and play the role well in this movie. Uh, the chemistry between them are really good and awesome. Uh, Beside the visual effect, uh, the visual effects in this movie look like really real, and I really enjoy everything in this movie. Um, the most touching moment in this movie, I guess, when the passenger are trying to survive. It's really touching. And for me, I read this movie 7 out of 10. Um, I guess that's all from me. Thank you.
Can I give one last before we ended our discussion, I would just wanted to say that this movie really teach me that it's not teach me, it just show me that women will do anything for their loved ones, because if we are in that situation and we wanted to save Jack, right, and the moment Rose stepped out of the lift, the elevator, it was already flooded with water, but she didn't hesitate, so she just went forward and tried to find Jack. It was so like terrifying because the water has already raised to her waist level, and but she succeed. And the most illogical feelings that I have was because I have watched this before and I know that Jack will die, but I still hope that he didn't. So it's just and the most saddest thing is because not because he died, because Rose did so much to keep both of them alive, but like she failed. So it was that kind of feeling. It was disappointed and also sad at the same time. So yeah, I think we will end our discussion now. If anyone else have anything to say, we can wrap it up.
We already hit the time, right? But I want to make boomerang to all of you for our last discussion. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Shall we end our discussion?
Stop recording.
Goodbye.